at 7:10, and that is a Mass Works grant application for Shattuck Road. It's a public hearing. If you just excuse me for a minute, I'd better disconnect this thing before it goes off. Thank you. Just a few rules here for everyone here. Welcome to the Hadley Selectboard hearing to discuss the Mass Works Infrastructure Program Grant application for Shattuck Road. We appreciate you taking your time to be here. In the interest of time, we ask that you adhere to the following ground rules. Any person wishing to comment on the issue must sign in. There's a sign-in sheet located on the table. Please print your name, then sign and list any affiliation. When addressing the select board, you must first identify yourself by name, address, and any professional affiliation you may have that impacts your comments. Identify the building that your comments address. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes so that other members of the audience will have a chance to speak. Please be considerate of other speakers, whether you agree or disagree with them, and refrain from commenting out of turn. A written comment period for those who are unable to attend or do not wish to testify at the public hearing will be allowed. The Select Board will accept a written testimony until August 14th, 2013. Please send comments identifying the proposal to the Select Board, 100 Middle Street, Hadley, Mass. 01035. Any person showing disrespect to those speaking will be asked to refrain from further speech or asked to leave. Thank you for your cooperation. This is an application for Shattuck Road. And I'll just read another part of this. The description of the project: the town of Hadley proposes to pave an 800-foot section of Shattuck Road immediately south of the Hadley-Sunderland border. The town proposes to extend water service 800 feet to the Hadley-Sunderland border. Currently, the project area consists of a gravel road without water service. 4 residences and 4 undeveloped lots are situated in the project area, and the residents receive water from private wells, which frequently run dry in the summer months. The road paving will enhance public transportation safety of Shattuck Road by improving the road surface for all weather travel, as well as providing for a viable detour route to allow the closure of Route 47, a north-south corridor, during the replacement of the Dwyer's Bridge culvert. The project expected to occur in the summer of 2014. Route 47, classified as a state-designed urban minor arterial, which supports traffic that includes oversized agricultural equipment. The proposed project on Shattuck Road will provide a safe and effective detour during the closures of Route 47. The road work will consist of a survey, tree cutting, and widening within the public layout, and paving to meet existing pavement north and south of the project area. The cost is expected to be $61,815 to be covered by the Mass Works Infrastructure Program grant. And I see in our audience today, we have members of the South Hadley Select Board. Sunderland Select Board. I see Mr. Thomas Feidenkevitz and Mr. Bergerman. And is Mr. Pierce here also? Okay, welcome to the meeting. Does anybody on the board have any comments about this so far, or
No.
how about the gentleman here from Sunderland?
No.
Well, for Mr. Chair, if I may, Thomas Feidenkevitz, Sunderland Selectmen.
Yeah.
Thank you for extending an invitation to attend a hearing to the board. Our biggest concern is for traffic on that road. Right now, as you all know, it's a very quiet road, and that would be one of our biggest concerns is, the number of traffic and the duration of the project.
Okay.
In regards to repaving this road, or when they're doing the 47 culvert?
The kind of like using that as a, when 47 is taken offline and it's detoured through that area, just the impact that we would have on that area. We do.
Go ahead.
We do have, as most of us probably know, most of our straight, long roads have problems with speed.
Right.
And that would be one of the concerns that we would have.
Mm-hmm.
And if we do detour along that road, if we could somehow maybe get some grant or some extra detail money to put
mitigate the traffic?
Correct.
Okay.
There's gonna be appropriate detail money for the project anyway.
On 47.
All on 47, which I'm sure if we run into a problem with some kind on Shattuck Road, with that, we could shift one of those officers over there if the road's gonna be totally closed. Depending on, depending on the conditions that are going to be over on 47. But, other than that, I mean, you probably got the same amount of traffic running through either direction. Those are the only two ways in and out of 47 and your Plum Tree and
Yeah.
what's that other road that cuts off of Plum Tree up?
Yeah. We call it South Plain,
South Plain, yeah.
although most of us call it Wild West at one time also.
Out west. Oh, yeah. Mr. Gerard, when we're talking about this culvert project, is there a possibility that you install that at half at a time and keep
There's
half?
I did talk to Matt, the design engineer, and there's a possibility that, like, so we could have one lane of traffic, which would be awesome, like they have an Amherst at the moment. That is a possibility.
Okay.
So either one lane would be returning down Shattuck at any one time, and the other lane would still be going down 47, basically.
What they probably do, John, is put up traffic like they did
Yeah.
in Alton. So
Yeah.
it's like north and south.
Like what's over in Amherst, going
Oh,
up the Pelham
big
Road.
project.
Pelham Road, right?
Yes,
Yeah, same thing.
traffic
Yeah,
light.
Same.
You're doing one side and the other.
Mr. Nixon?
So I think that the only issue left out for the culvert work on Route 47 is the oversized traffic, particularly agricultural traffic.
Right.
And so a one-lane road may not be sufficient to handle that. So that would be the detour. So we're not talking about high-speed or high-impact vehicles, just having a larger way for agricultural vehicles to go through.
Would there also be an opportunity in an emergency situation for that to be a tie-in for either Sunderland or for ourselves?
We talk water,
Yes.
absolutely.
So,
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
Fred Laurinaitis is a Sunderland Water Commissioner.
Yeah, I'm Fred Laurinaitis, and David extended the invitation for us tonight. So here, if you had any questions relative to the water supply on South Plain Road in Sunderland.
So, this is a grant program. This project came to our attention because of the complaints about the condition of the road, the lack of water. Knowing that we had a couple of projects coming up, the Route 47 culvert replacement being one of them, but also the Mount Warner, in the water master plan, the Mount Warner well upgrade is scheduled to be a high priority project of about $400,000 cost. And so the grant program, the Mass Works Infrastructure program, what they like to see is they like to see small projects. They like to see a combination of municipal and state money being used. They like to see a road safety component. They like to see an intermunicipal component. And they like to see cooperation between towns on that project. So in addition to the $61,000 for the road paving, the survey work, the design work, the engineering work, and the tree work that needs to happen to finish that last 800-foot stretch of road, there's also going to be a water line that we're going to pay for out of water reserves for about $60,400, which would lead an 8-inch line north from the current terminus up to the Sunderland Hadley town line, ending at a fire hydrant. And in the pinch, we could connect the two hydrants, one on the Sunderland side, one on the Hadley side, and supply water. And I understand that there's a pressure differential, and I think we're at a slightly higher pressure than Sunderland, so immediately the water could go north, and we would have to upgrade in order to make it go south. But that would give us an additional intermunicipal connection. We have two with the town of Amherst right now. But if we made that connection, then that's an emergency water supply, which gives us the ability to rethink the very expensive upgrade to Mount Warner well, particularly since that water is of lesser quality than the town of Sunderland's water.
Mr. Moore?
But the connection to the water system would only be made with the permission of Sunderland and with DEP approval. It wouldn't be a system that we just go hook up and turn on. So just so everybody knows, that's not what the plan is. We would follow all DEP protocol if we ever had to use this, which is contacting you and getting DEP approval.
Correct.
It'd basically be bi-directional pumping. If our town or if your town ran into a situation where you needed more water on your end of town, or we needed more water on our end of town for some reason, if we had a major water main break, because we have only one supply line that feeds up as far as Stockbridge Road, I believe.
Yeah.
So if there was ever a major water main break there and we needed water for a period of time where we could connect into your line to keep our services flowing, you know, that's kind of what we're looking at. It has never happened, I don't believe. It has happened in Amherst, but I don't believe it's ever happened in Sunderland. But since we're only 800 and some feet away and there's only one hydrant you're gonna put in on the end, it's a matter of a couple $1,000s for a small project like this. Is really well worth our while to put it in somewhere down the line. If we ever need it, we have it. You could even use it for fire protection across lines also, you know?
Mr. Chair, if I could.
Mr. Flake.
What we all learned the last 2 years between Hurricane Sandy and Irene is that if we have problems, we are on our own
Yeah.
for at least 3 days, if not 5 or 7. And we have come to expect not to have any type of help. So the more that we can work
Together.
with one another and to take a long-term view on situations like this instead of being parochial. And Mr. Moore is very right about being the purveyor of water, who has the rights to say what can and can't be done. But if we take proper precautions, there is not no way, there's not really any reason we can't come together. And I'm sure Fred and the water commissioners in Sunderland would be really interested in talking about making that happen.
I mean, you guys feel this is a positive thing we're doing anyway, right? I mean,
Yeah.
for the most part here.
And, I mean, we're also close to your line on 47, but that would be an extension on our part to
Yeah.
get closer to
Yeah.
where you are.
You
You're
probably
right
need something
at the-
similar to what we're doing on Shattuck Road,
Correct,
to put
just
one more
maybe-
hydrant in.
Maybe 400 more feet or so.
Yeah,
to put
yeah,
that
because
on.
it's quite a ways down by
Yeah, on
Kelly's.
South Plain, we're 8-inch, on 47, we're 12-inch.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Is there any other comments from the audience here? Mr. Moore?
Is this a strap grant or are we going for the MassWorks grant?
It's a strap grant which has been folded into the MassWorks program.
Do I need a motion to close the public hearing?
Type-
I do have one question.
Sure, go ahead. Please identify
Yeah,
yourself.
my name's Paul Lawler, I'm a resident of Shattuck Road, and I want to thank you for the invitation to this meeting tonight. Is this grant-
Hadley or Sunderland?
Hadley.
Hadley.
Shattuck Road's in Hadley.
Okay,
Doesn't it extend to-
okay, continue,
Has
please.
this grant been approved?
It goes to,
And this
Mr. Dixon.
project going to move forward? I'm just kind of,
yeah.
Yeah, thank you for the question. As part of the grant application, we have to have a public hearing. So the grant is not, we can't submit the grant until the first week of September. So we're having the public hearing to have feedback, and we'll make some adjustments to the final numbers and so forth, based upon feedback from Sunderland and from Hadley residents. And then we'll submit the grant application in September and cross our fingers, raise the rest of the money at the fall town meeting.
We're in favor. Are you on low
Okay.
water
I
now?
was going to, oh yeah. I was
You've
just
got
gonna
your own
say I
well.
wanna
Yeah,
Thank you for
And you are
applying for the grant.
yeah, we ran
because-
out twice,
You ran out twice
Yeah.
this summer?
You're welcome.
right.
Okay, so that's, we're
Not
two of
this
the
summer,
existing
sorry.
houses
We're all
right now.
shattered. We're all shattered.
And have you spoken with the other two neighbors there about the situation?
He's in Florida, so
Okay.
is she.
Okay.
They had gone on to their conductor in Florida.
Did they-
Mr. and Mrs. Wood, yes.
Did they feel they're in favor of this?
I'm sure they are, yes,
Yeah.
because we've spoken about it many, many times. We're very close neighbors with them.
All right,
Okay.
then that's it. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
it's a
Mr.
good
Chair,
thing.
we keep the public hearing open until our next meeting to give everybody an opportunity to submit written comments.
That is
if they-
correct.
If they don't feel like speaking tonight.
But we'll let the record show that today all the responses were positive? Okay.
I had, excuse me, I'm very sorry. I'm Mary Jane Snydak, and I
Okay.
live right next to Sunderland. We're
Okay.
number 2. We're on the
Okay.
border right there.
Okay.
We have, when we ran out of water, I had called the Sunderland town to find out if it was possibility that we could hook in to Sunderland and pay Sunderland for the water. And I was told definitely not.
Okay. Yeah, that's the way
So
it
we had no
goes.
other choice.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna go on to a discussion here with the Sunderland Selectboard for S&J land preservation. Mr. Nixon, what do you have for us on that?
This is a project that we've been working on, I want to say it's for 2 years.
Yeah.
At least.
I believe we all
Till next week.
No. No.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
Okay.
I frequently drive to work on Route 47. It's a beautiful road in both towns. And imagine my surprise that one day I saw these for sale signs up at the tobacco farm right on the border. And so I immediately got in touch with the folks in Sunderland and Kestrel Trust and Pioneer Valley Planning Commission and other people and said, what's up? And it turns out that the family that owns that property wanted to sell it, and there was significant acreage in both Hadley and in Sunderland. And so we've been working on trying to come to a deal which has now been completed, and they've closed, to preserve well over 100 acres in both towns. And it was a wonderful opportunity to work with your town administrator to see if we couldn't come up with a collaborative approach so that we could interest the landowners in an APR that would preserve that farmland forever.
Mr. Chair, when we had spoken to the landowner, basically that whole APR process was dead. They were not getting a return at the time, and we all know that when you look at APR costs, it depends on what time of the market and whatever. It was dead. They had no hope, and they basically were ready to subdivide and sell off pieces. Very fortunate that we were able to work across our town borders. And when you had come, Dan,
Yep.
you came to our meeting,
Yes, sir.
and there was a couple of you that came to the meeting, that showed, when our two boards got together, that showed that landowner that there was a serious effort by both communities to make it happen. And after that meeting with Rich Hubbard
Right.
was there, and the state was there. We also talked to our local representatives. You guys talked to yours also. It happened because we worked together. And I can honestly say, if we didn't work together, and it still took a long time, because that was a long time when we first met.
Yes.
But if we hadn't reached out across the borders like we did, it wouldn't have happened. We just wanted to come and say, we had kind of worked with you guys a few years ago on another piece of property, and unfortunately it fell through. But no lack of trying between the two communities and, the two communities. And we just want to say, we appreciate the opportunity that you came to the meeting and that you took the ride north. And we just want to know that we appreciated that because it was best for both communities. And just like the Shattuck Road, our South Plain Road, working together, we can make things happen.
We hope to have more situations where we can have this kind of cooperation. I think it benefits both towns. Yeah.
Mr. Chair, there's a lot of things, and you may have been reading in the newspaper, we're working on a 3-town EMS, regional EMS.
I'm watching that.
Yeah, how's that working out?
Well, you know, sometimes people misinterpret sometimes, okay? Is that And we feel that the only way you can really bring a good product is if you allow people to come and talk about it. They may not all agree. And we're kind of working through that right now. And we really got two stumbling blocks right now that we think are really not really big stumbling blocks that we'll take. The first one is staffing. And we're discussing if we're gonna have 4 full-time or 8 full-time and how to get to that staffing levels. And the second is the housing of it. But we have like 3 options for the housing. So we're hearing, most of the thing that we're hearing from the members of the town is positive. Some people have concern, the residents have concern, but I think it's going pretty well.
I'm especially interested in the level of service you're going with paramedic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's, I think, in my view, that's always the way to go. Okay. Yes, sir.
If I could, along the same lines, the hardest part, and the easy thing to do is talk about the update of the status we're currently at with respect to that negotiation. The hardest part, of course, is getting 3 different boards of selectmen, 3 different EMS groups, 3 different entities, and then getting them all to at least agree on one vision.
Yeah.
And so now we're going through the hard part, and that's the very practical elements. The vision exercise, providing better care in a geographic area without necessarily focusing on the town boundaries. The geographic area of the 3 communities, that, once that discussion was done and there was some sense that you could actually move forward with it, everybody's okay with the concept,
Yeah.
it's amazing what can happen.
Yeah.
And I would echo that point, use that same point to echo the sentiment Tom shared about the Regan property. It's a lot of acreage, could be a lot of houses in there.
Yeah.
But instead, they're removing some of the tobacco netting, the infrastructure right there, and we're gonna have 8 open space. Not always the best possible thing, but in this case here, clearly. So, thanks for your effort.
Okay.
And you still are comfortable staying with your mutual aid system in the lines of the ambulance service anyway,
By
right?
nature, you have to, absolutely.
The most important thing that we found with the ambulance service is when you looked at the 3, we were very lucky that we have the EMS director in Sunderland and the EMS director in Deerfield and the EMS director in Whiteley looked 5 years, 10 years down the road, and they saw concern about being able to man it on the volunteer and being able to get the proper response time. So, which is contrary, they actually went out and tried to find a system that would work. So we have to applaud their foresight, and they're willing to, sometimes, again, we like to do a lot with our own little circle.
Yeah.
They were able to look outside the circle. And in fact, Deerfield is probably making a huge concession in my mind, because right now, in our memorandum of understanding, Deerfield has allowed that we're gonna have 2 members from each community sit on the board, although they're gonna be paying like 52% of the total cost. But they all, they know right now that to provide an EMS service, they've actually said, well, let's be equal right now, and let's get this done. So they're making a huge commitment as well. So we're pretty happy with everything.
Good. Yeah, we're fortunate where we've got a full-time ambulance service servicing us right now. I mean, with excellent response time. But it's something we're looking at down the road eventually somewhere, I suppose.
It's a funny thing though, the phone always rings when there's complaints, and I know it's never rung with a complaint about our ambulance service that we have in town. I can say that, we're very lucky.
Mr. Chair, we found the hardest, we found very few concerns in either 3 communities. We had very few complaints about the ambulance service. I mean, and if you talk to most people, they would not know there's a concern until when you start, and what the EMS directors did, when they started looking hard at their numbers, at their data, they saw that there was calls that weren't being made, and response times that were ended up 27, 30 minutes.
Wow.
So they understood that there was a problem.
But yeah, I mean, you're always gonna have that. I know with the 911 system with the general dispatch that they're trying to set up everywhere right now, even in different states. When I go on vacation, I happen to pick up the paper, and they go through like a county dispatch, and there's 20 or 30 minutes to get the call through, you know, to the local police department or EMS.
Well, Regan, we just wanted to take the opportunity to come and thank you. And we look forward to working with you guys in the future.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Coming in.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, I appreciate the partnership, thank you very much.